Hello everybody. So I didn't really know what to film, so I just kind of started playing around with the palette that I haven't used in a while. And I just kind of, improvised this look. But we're starting off with the e.l.f. brow pencil in dark brown. I just decided to include me doing my brows because, this is the technique that I do most of the time, but I do switch it up here and there. So I like to go in with a pencil to kind of get the shape right and create structure. And then I like to fill the rest of my brow in with a pomade, but I'm actually using the Ben Nye Cream Colors contour shade in Dark Midnight, and I'm using the BH brow brush just to fill in the rest of my brows. I apologize in advance, but for some reason this video goes in and out of focus, and I guess my camera wasn't set up right and the features weren't right, because in some of the shots I'm out of frame, and in other ones it's it just goes out of focus. It's weird. So I did pretty thick, intense brows. Don't know why. But I'm highlighting my brow bone with the BH Flawless Brow Highlight. And this is a dual-ended little pencil. One side is a matte cream color, and then the other side is a shimmery white. And I use the shimmery side. And now I'm just priming my lids with the Urban Decay Primer Potion in Original. And just rubbing that in with my fingers. Then I'm taking Ben Nye Cream Colors in white, and I'm just going to put that all over my lid and use it as an eyeshadow base. And I just blend it out with my fingers and set it. And now I'm going into the BH Cosmetics and Carlie Bybel palette. This is the deluxe one, the one that has more shades. And I'm taking that cream color and setting my lid using this fluffy BH Cosmetics blending brush from the Smoky Eye Essential brush kit. I don't really know if they sell this palette, because I remember hearing Carlie Bybel say something about this being discontinued. But you can probably find these kind of mauve tones in other palettes, especially higher end ones with a pink color story. But I'm taking this, I don't even know how to describe this shade. It's I guess mauve. And I'm using this e.l.f. brush to just put that in my crease, and I'm really deepening it up. I guess it's a rose, pinky rosy shade. I don't know. But I'm just getting that nice and deep in the crease. I'm building it up so that it is deep, so that we have a lot more depth within the crease. And now I'm moving on to this darker, kind of purpley brown color in the palette, and I'm putting that on the outer V first and just blending it towards the crease and kind of into that mauve shade that we put down. And I'm using a different brush. This is the e.l.f. Fluffy Crease brush, I believe. And now I'm taking this little tiny Makeup For You brush just to get that dark purpley color nice and pigmented in my outer V, and really get it darker than what it was looking like in the crease. And I just kind of brought that into towards the center of my eye, but not all the way. And then I'm just blending everything out, blending those two shades of my crease into that darker color on my outer V. Then I'm going back in with the cream white just to make this glitter shadow really pigmented and stick. And I'm using this little e.l.f. pointed brush to put the cream color on. And I did it this doesn't have to be very neat. You just don't want to go too crazy because you don't want glitter in your crease, unless you're cool with that. But I hate glitter in the crease because it gets everywhere. So I just tried to make it, be the shape that I would want And I started trying to use that little e.l.f. brush that I used for the cream colors to put the glittery shade on, but I wasn't feeling it. It wasn't really doing what I needed to do. So I just used my finger to press that on and then back into the brush to, you know, get it precise, like to round it off at the top. And then I blended out that, like the crease, to make sure there was no glitter there. And then I'm doing the same thing on the other eye. I'm using this like pinky shimmery color. I'm not sure if I showed you it in the BH palette, but none of these shades have names, but it's like the one closest to the mauve shade. So now we're going back into the BH Cosmetics palette, and I'm taking that like light, soft, pinky, shimmery color, and I'm highlighting my inner corners with that, which I did a terrible job of showing you guys. And then, you know, I just had to go in and really, I wanted the distinction between like the whitish color and the pink to be clear. And now I'm taking my Wet n Wild Photo Focus pressed powder in Dark Cocoa, I believe this is the shade. And I'm taking this Wet n Wild crease brush and just putting that shade over the white cream color just to, you know, get rid of that white, and I blend it into my brow bone just to make everything a little bit more natural, soft, and, you know, blended together. And now I'm taking this dark brown matte shade, like warm brown, and I'm putting that kind of above the Wet n Wild powder and kind of into it, mixing them together, blending into the crease and the brow bone. And I'm just blending out my brow bone highlight with my finger because that highlighter stick is like a creamy kind of situation, so I just wanted to blend out the cream. And now I'm doing my eyeliner. I'm taking the Tarte Man-Eater eyeliner. And this was a bit of a struggle. I don't think I like this eyeliner. That's the conclusion I've come to. I do like that it's nice and like precise, but I don't know. I feel like it doesn't dry down fast enough. But I'm doing a pretty like subtle wing. It's pretty thin, a little elongated, I guess. Sorry, somebody is mowing their lawn outside. I hope you guys can't hear it. And then I finished up with that and went on to the face. So I'm priming the face using the Becca, I forget what this is called, Becca Hydrating Backlight Primer, something like that. The purpley one. And just rubbing that in, letting it sink into my skin for a second. And I'm going in with foundation. This is the e.l.f. What is this called? I guess just the e.l.f. foundation. The like matte one. Well, it's more of like a satin finish. And this is in the shade Cocoa. I'm also using an e.l.f. foundation blending brush to just put that on. To be honest, I like this foundation with a sponge and a brush. I don't really notice a difference when I use both or either. So I think it looks good with either, but I just chose to go with the brush. And I think I'm starting to notice that even though it's not like summer yet, it is like sunnier and bright outside. I'm starting to notice that I'm getting darker. Like even looking back at this footage as I'm editing, I noticed that my foundation is, it's not like too light, but something is a little bit like off. It does look, I don't know, it's weird because it matches, but it also like doesn't. And I'm using the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Concealer in the shade, this is either called Cocoa or Dark Cocoa. All the names on the Wet n Wild like Photo Focus collection, like all the dark shades all sound the same. And I just went kind of minimal on the concealer underneath my eyes. I did like the stripe thing and kind of brought it towards my nose. And I'm just going to take my little mini sponge to blend that all out. And I'm just going to set everything using that same Wet n Wild powder I used on my eyes. I'm taking this little Sephora small powder brush that I got in like this pink glitter kit. And I'm just setting all the highlighted areas. And then I'm going to just set my eyes with the same thing. And now I'm going into my e.l.f. Pressed powder in dark, or deep dark. And I'm just setting the rest of my face with that. Using this little small Makeup For You brush because I'm running out of this powder, and I feel like this little brush helps me get every last bit of powder out of the like compact. And I'm just setting everything. I'm going to contour with this Fit Me Pressed powder in the shade 375, which I think is the same shade that I have in the foundation that's also too dark. But I like to use this as a contour because it's a pressed powder, it's a little bit more like natural looking, I guess. It's definitely a little like cool tone for me, but I think it works. And I am just kind of going in, building up this powder because like I said, it's a little bit more natural looking. So I'm just doing, you know, my cheekbones, my jawline, and then up on the forehead. Now I'm putting on my blush, and I decided to use an angled brush, that way I could angle the blush up. And this is the Milani Romantic Rose blush. Going back into the Carlie Bybel palette, I'm going to take that like rose gold highlighter with the e.l.f. highlighting brush, and that shade ended up being so pretty. It was a little intense, I think I put a little too much. But once I blended it out, it was so pretty. And to be honest, I'm kind of sad that this palette is discontinued. I think it's really good and it's really nice, especially if like you're on a budget, because it's pretty inexpensive. I think I paid like $15 for it, but it was on sale. But yeah, the highlighters are nice and the shadows are nice. And I'm just highlighting the tip of my nose and, you know, the bridge of my nose in between the brows a little bit. My Cupid's bow, blending that out with the same rose gold pinky color. And then I'm just going to contour my nose real quick using that same Fit Me Pressed powder. I just went down the bridge of my nose, not the bridge, down the sides of my nose and connected that contour kind of to my brow to kind of blend it into my brow, make it look a little softer, more natural. Also add a little bit more definition. And I'm using an e.l.f. I think this is a, what is this brush called? I think it's just like a fluffy crease brush. And then I'm going in with my MAC mini contour brush to just blend that contour out a little bit more. And going back into the eyeshadow palette, I'm taking that same like mauve color that I used as my transition shade, and I'm putting that all over the lower lash line. And then I'm taking the darker, deeper, more purpley color and using that to really smoke it out. And I'm using that same like roundish e.l.f. brush that I used earlier to put that first shade in my crease. And then I just kind of went back with the dark color, building it up, trying to, you know, make it as smoky as possible without it being too dark and crazy. And then I put on some lashes, and I'm moving on to lips. So this is the NK lip liner. I think the shade is called Cocoa. And I just line my lips kind of haphazardly. And now I'm going to take this Wet n Wild nude lipstick in Bare It All and just put that in the center. And finally, we're just going to top it off with some gloss. This gloss is from the same brand the lip liner is from, NK. This is just a clear gloss. I just decided to put it on my finger and then dab it on because, you know, I didn't want this to be too crazy. And lastly, I'm just going to set my face with the e.l.f. Mist and Set. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Love you. Stay safe.